The endless desert stretched before Dr. Elias Finch like a blank canvas, devoid of life, devoid of hope. The sound of his boots crunching against the cracked earth was the only noise. The air thick with the weight of his thoughts. The planet was far from Earth, far from anything he'd ever known. For the last 3 months, Elias had been stranded on this barren world, his only company, the distant stars, and the hum of his dwindling equipment. He hadn't seen another human being in what felt like a lifetime. Alone, he worked day and night in his makeshift laboratory, desperately trying to unlock the secrets of alien technology, hoping that his discoveries would someday help humanity escape the doomed fate he feared for Earth. The experiment had failed again. His eyes burned from staring at the readouts on his monitors, the numbers flashing in front of him, nothing more than a reminder of his failure. The project was supposed to be a breakthrough, a discovery that would change everything for humanity, a way to bridge the gap between the stars and Earth. But with each passing day, the dream seemed to slip further from his grasp. "How am I supposed to fix this?" Elias muttered under his breath, his frustration seeping into his words. "I've got no resources, no backup, nothing, and I'm running out of time." The words echoed in the empty room, almost like a prayer to the vast, unfeeling cosmos. The planet's red skies hung like a curtain above him, heavy and oppressive. The air tasted bitter, the wind dry and unrelenting, carrying the scent of dust and something he couldn't quite identify. Elias had spent too long here, alone with his thoughts in the never-ending silence. He longed for something, anything, that could break the monotony. That's when it happened. At first, it was barely a flicker in the corner of his eye, a brief flash of light that he thought was just a trick of his exhausted mind. But then it happened again, and this time the light grew larger, more defined, a bright, shimmering orb descending from the heavens. Elias's heart skipped a beat as he pushed himself up from his chair, his mind racing. "What in the world?" he muttered. His eyes widened as the object grew closer, the shape now unmistakably clear. A ship. An alien ship. It wasn't like anything he had ever seen. Its sleek design shimmered like liquid metal, reflecting the distant stars and the crimson glow of the planet's sun. It was far too advanced to be anything human-made, and yet there it was, descending slowly towards the ground, like some celestial messenger. Elias's breath caught in his throat as the ship landed in a perfect, graceful motion, its engines barely making a sound as it touched down on the desolate ground. His mind was a blur of disbelief and curiosity. This was it. This was the moment he had been hoping for. A chance to encounter something beyond his understanding, beyond his wildest dreams. The ship's hatch opened, and from the shadowed doorway emerged a figure. A woman, or something close to it. She was tall, with long, flowing hair that seemed to shift colors, like it was made of liquid silver. Her skin was a pale, almost translucent shade of blue, and her eyes glowed with an eerie light, like 2 pools of molten amber. Elias stood frozen, his mouth dry, as the alien woman took a few cautious steps towards him. He couldn't believe his eyes. It was impossible. The science books he had read, the theories he had studied, they had all told him that the likelihood of encountering intelligent alien life was nearly impossible. And yet, here she was, standing before him, as real as anything he had ever known. "Who? What are you?" Elias whispered, his voice barely a breath against the thick silence of the desert. The woman tilted her head slightly, her glowing eyes studying him with a calm, curious expression. She was silent for a moment, as if contemplating her response, before she spoke in a voice that was strangely melodic, yet difficult to understand. "I heard everything you said," she replied, her words soft but clear. "All of it." Elias blinked in disbelief, his mind struggling to make sense of her words. "You heard me?" he asked, his voice rising slightly in surprise. "But I've been talking to myself." "I didn't expect anyone to be here," the woman smiled, a soft, knowing curve of her lips that seemed to light up her entire face. "I know, I've been listening." Elias took a step back, his mind racing. He couldn't understand how she had heard him from so far away, or how she knew exactly what he had been thinking. His heart pounded in his chest as he tried to process everything that was happening. There was no way this was real. There was no way an alien, an actual alien, was standing in front of him. "How is that possible?" Elias asked, his voice thick with awe and confusion. "How did you hear me?" The alien woman simply smiled again, her eyes never leaving his. "I hear everything, and I have come for you." Elias didn't know whether to be terrified or fascinated. He could feel a strange energy around her, an aura that seemed to hum with power. She wasn't just some random being from another planet. She was something different, something beyond his understanding. "I don't understand," Elias said, his mind still trying to catch up. "Why are you here?" "What do you want with me?" The alien woman stepped closer, her presence overwhelming. "I am Scylla," she said, her voice calm and soothing. "And I have come to help you." Elias blinked, unable to believe the words he was hearing. "Help me?" "With what?" "With your work," Scylla replied simply. "I know what you've been doing. I know what you've been trying to achieve. Your experiment, your research, it's important." The scientist's confusion only deepened.
How could she possibly know about his work? It wasn't like he had shared it with anyone.
He had been working alone for months, and even if his research had made its way to others, how could she know about it so precisely? "How do you know about my research?" Elias demanded, taking another step back. His mind was starting to race. An anxiety bubbled in his chest. Zyla's smile softened, but her eyes remained intense, as though she could see straight into his soul. "I've been watching you, waiting for the right time to come." The words hit Elias like a punch to the gut. She had been watching him? This alien had been observing him all this time, perhaps even longer than he had been aware. The idea of being watched, of having his every move scrutinized by an unknown force, sent a shiver down his spine. He opened his mouth to ask more questions, but Zyla raised a hand, silencing him with a single gesture. "There's no need for fear, Doctor. Finch, I am not here to harm you. I am here because your work, your research, is crucial." Elias's heart thudded in his chest, but he couldn't help the feeling of intrigue that bubbled to the surface. Could it be true? Had he, in his isolated desperation, stumbled upon something that could change everything? Before he could say anything more, Zyla's expression shifted, becoming more serious, more intense. "There is much to explain, but first, you must trust me. Your research is not just a breakthrough for humanity. It is something far greater, something the galaxy has been waiting for." The words were too much to process. Elias felt like the ground beneath him was shifting, like his entire understanding of reality was crumbling away. He had spent his entire life as a scientist, but he had never imagined anything like this. An alien who had been watching him, waiting for him, and now claiming that his work was vital to the fate of the galaxy. Elias took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing thoughts. "What do you want me to do?" he finally asked, his voice steady despite the storm of emotion swirling inside him. Zyla's smile returned, and for the first time, Elias felt something like hope flicker in his chest. "Help me, Dr. Finch," she said softly. "Together, we will change everything." Elias felt as though the ground beneath him was shifting, not in the way it would during an earthquake, but in the way a life-altering decision could change everything. He stood there, face to face with Zyla, the alien woman who had descended from the stars. Her words echoed in his mind. "Help me, Dr. Finch. Together we will change everything." But what could he do? Was this real, or was his mind playing tricks on him? He had been isolated for so long. His work had consumed him. The planet, the technology, everything seemed so distant from Earth. But in that moment, Zyla's presence grounded him in a way that nothing else ever had. Elias tried to shake off his confusion. "What exactly do you need me to do?" he asked, his voice steady but his mind still racing. Zyla looked at him with an expression that suggested she knew more than she was letting on. "I need you to complete the device," she said softly, the glow from her eyes intensifying as she spoke. "The one you were working on." "The one you think is a failure." A knot tightened in Elias's stomach. She had to be talking about the experimental device that he had been trying to perfect for months. It was a prototype he had believed could revolutionize the way humans interacted with alien technology, perhaps even enable humanity to make a leap forward into space travel and exploration. But every attempt had ended in failure. And yet, here was Zyla, standing before him, telling him it was essential.
"You've been watching me," Elias said, his voice quieter now. "You've seen every failure, every mistake."
"Why would you want me to finish it? It hasn't worked."
"It's broken." Zyla stepped forward, her presence commanding, yet calm. "Not broken, just misunderstood," she replied, her voice soft but firm. "What you have created isn't a failure, Doctor."
"Finch, it's the key to saving more than just your world."
Her words seemed to hang in the air, and for a moment, Elias wondered if he had heard her wrong. How could something he had created in isolation, something that seemed so flawed, hold any value? He had built it with the best intentions, but the device had never done what he expected. Instead, it had malfunctioned, again and again. Elias took a slow breath, trying to steady himself.
"I don't understand,"
he muttered, more to himself than to Zyla.
"How is this device going to save anyone? How can it be the key?" Zyla's gaze softened.
"Because it's not just a machine, Elias. It's a bridge between worlds, between different species, between those who are ready to connect and those who are still hiding in the shadows." She paused, as if weighing her next words carefully. "You and I are not so different. Both of us are working to ensure survival."
"I have been searching for someone like you for a long time, someone who could help me unlock the potential of this device."
You were chosen, Dr. Finch.
Not by chance, but by design. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. Chosen? By design? His mind raced to make sense of it all. Why had Zyla come to him? And what did she mean by design? The more he thought about it, the more the pieces of the puzzle seemed to slip further out of his reach. "You said the device is a bridge," Elias said, trying to focus on her words. "A bridge between worlds? What do you mean by that? And who's on the other side of this bridge?" Zyla's eyes narrowed slightly, as though she were deciding how much to reveal. "There's more to the universe than what you see, Elias. More than your planet, more than even your own people realize. I come from a place far beyond your understanding, a place where the dangers of the galaxy threaten to consume everything, and we've been watching your species, hoping you would reach a point where you could help us. This device, it holds the answer to everything."
Elias could feel the weight of her words pressing down on him. But why me?
"Why do you think I'm the one who can help you? I'm just a scientist."
I'm just trying to make sense of the mess I've created. Zyla's smile was faint but reassuring.
"It's not about what you've created, Elias. It's about who you are."
"You're driven, resourceful. You've been isolated, just like me. And, like me, you understand what it's like to want to make a difference. Your mind has already opened the door to something great, and I'm here to show you how to walk through it." Elias felt a strange mix of awe and fear. There was something about Zyla that made her words sound undeniable. She spoke with such confidence, such certainty, that for a moment he almost believed her. But the rational part of his brain was still fighting against the impossible nature of it all.
You said you've been watching me? For how long?
Elias asked, his curiosity growing despite the fear gnawing at him. For as long as I needed to, Zyla answered cryptically. I've been waiting for the right moment to find you.
Your work? Your research? It's the key to unlocking a power that could reshape the fate of countless worlds.
But it can't happen unless you complete the device. The choice is yours, Elias.
But you need to decide quickly. A chill ran through him at the urgency in her voice.
Something about the way she spoke made him realize that this wasn't just about him. It was about something much larger, something that could affect the future of humanity and beyond. But what happens if I don't? Elias asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zyla's expression grew serious. Then, everything you've worked for, everything your species has hoped for, will be lost. And worse, you won't just lose your chance to help them. You'll lose yourself, your future, and possibly your world. Elias stood frozen, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts. Everything in him screamed to run, to escape this strange alien woman and the responsibility she was placing on him. But another part of him, an unfamiliar part, felt compelled to stay, to listen, to trust her. He had spent so long working alone, and now he realized that maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to do it all by himself. Maybe Zyla had come here for a reason. I don't know, he said finally, his voice thick with uncertainty. I don't know if I can trust you. You're asking me to finish something that I've already failed at. You're asking me to believe in something I don't fully understand. Zyla's eyes softened, and she stepped closer, her presence radiating calm.
I don't ask for your trust, Elias.
I ask for your help. What you've created isn't just a mistake.
It's a key. It's a tool that will unlock the future, if you're willing to take the risk.
The silence stretched between them as Elias stood there, caught between the fear of the unknown and the hope of something greater. His mind raced, every fiber of his being telling him to turn away, but something in Zyla's words kept him rooted to the spot. For the first time in months, Elias felt like there might be a way out of this desolate, endless cycle of failure. Okay, he said quietly, the decision weighing heavily on him.
I'll help you. I'll finish the device.
But you have to promise me something. Zyla's gaze sharpened, her curiosity piqued. What do you ask? You have to tell me everything.
Don't leave anything out. I need to understand what I'm getting into.
Zyla nodded solemnly, a rare seriousness crossing her face. I promise, Elias, you'll understand soon enough. As Elias turned to face the device on his workbench, a part of him felt a flicker of hope, something he hadn't felt in a long time. But that hope was laced with uncertainty, because no matter how much Zyla assured him, he knew one thing for sure: nothing would ever be the same again.